Watch out for cash money, cause we landing down. Money making is my thing, cause I'm trying to be rich, trying to put away meals. That's why I'm in the studio dropping hits, dropping rap after rap like you sell key after key. Backed up by the best fresh, dropping beat after beat. My clique is the hot boys, best believe we so high and dangerous. If we in beef with the whole block, no fading us at all, player, cause we roll too deep. With AKs off safety, knocking busters off their feet. I go by the name of BG. I ride on chrome and then I 8 Lexi S3. I'll bust it down for baby on this B3. Because I know one thing, he'll do the same for me. We family, cash money is the homie, better yet a Navy. So if you ever play a heavy, look at it and grab it. Don't try to knock me, player, cause I'll leave your head stale. Light you up real good, you will never get well. Cash money is the homie, better yet a Navy. So if you ever play a heavy for you, it ain't gravy. Cash money is the homie, better yet a Navy. So if you ever play a heavy for you, it ain't gravy. I got a path that you don't want.
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.
Hey, what's going on, Who Dat Nation? It is yours truly, Timothy J. Jones. Wait a second. And I am the host of the State of the Saints podcast. Thank you so much for checking out the State of the Saints podcast, where we talk New Orleans Saints. And I want to let you know that the State of the Saints podcast is powered by BETUS. Sign up today, get up to 150% on your first deposit up to $2,000. And you also get 125% on your second and third deposit, man. So make sure that you go to BETUS and use the promo code YouTube150. That's YouTube150. Shouts out to everybody in the chat that's following in right now. Shouts out to everybody that's listening around the country, around the world. If you're at the gym, if you're at work, you're at home, thank you so much. And also a special thanks to everybody that went over to the NFC South Roundtable. Shouts out to you. I know I'm seeing a lot of members of the Who Dat Nation up in there repping hard, and I appreciate it, man. There was a strong Who Dat presence up in that thing tonight. All right, and I appreciate that, man. And I'm asking everybody to subscribe to that channel. We go live 7 p.m. Every single Tuesday night. So make sure that you check that out. Also, I'll be over on the Philadelphia Eagles channel on tomorrow. Shouts out to my guy, Mike. Mike, we will be over there. I'll make sure that I go live tomorrow, sending you all that information. So if you aren't doing anything around, I want to say 6 p.m. Eastern, you can slide over there and hear me talk about the Saints' big matchup versus the Philadelphia Eagles. So a lot of work going on, a lot of things happening here, but still, we're going to keep it 100 right here on the State of the Saints podcast. Shouts out to everybody that couldn't make it to the live. I get it, man. We pop up and show them. But sometimes people can't catch it when I pop up and show them. But anyway, you get it. Whether you're getting it live or after it's all said and done. Well, if you're getting it when it's all said and done, shouts out to the after show.
Shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out to them after show boys. Shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out, shouts out to them after show boys. They be tweet and be posting, they be tweet and be posting, they be tweet. Yeah, them after show boys. They be tweet and be posting, they be tweet and be posting, they be tweet. Yeah, them after show boys.
Shouts out to all the after show boys, after show girls out there. And for those that are new, I ain't played this in a minute, so I had to set this up. For all those that are new, right? You just rolled up on the channel, seen this nice chocolate-looking brother right here. It's like, oh, wait a minute. Let me stop, see what he's talking about. Or you just wanted to see what I got to say. It's very, very simple. We're a very interactive podcast. We're very interactive, all right? And all you got to do is put them comments in the chat. Hey, what's going on? It's TJ Jones, the host of the State of the Saints podcast, and we're about to do what it do, baby. You probably have something to say about the black and gold that's burning hard in your soul. Take those fingers, give them the working. Put them comments in the chat.
Put those comments, put them in the chat.
All you got to do is go ahead and put them things in the chat.
I want to hear what you got to say.
I want to hear from you.
Talk to me and not so bad.
Oh, you ain't got to worry about it. All you got to do is talk to me. I talk back to you now.
Put those comments, put them in the chat.
All you got to do is put them comments in the chat.
I want to hear what you got to say.
I want to hear from you.
Talk to me and not so bad.
Talk to me. I guarantee you. I'm going to talk right back to you.
Nice.
Right, that's right. All you got to do is put those comments in the chat. But on this edition, we're going to be talking about the Saints getting national attention. That's right, Who That Nation, the team that everybody says is going to fail. The team that they said is going to have the first coach to be fired among the coaches that are on the hot seat. They're getting national attention. Man, what a difference 2 weeks make. When you put up scores on 15 possessions and score a total of 91 points in 2 games, look, I don't even think the Saints getting credit. The Saints have scored 40 points in their last 3 regular season games, because you got to remember, them boys put them foots in them Atlanta Falcons 48-17 to end the season last year, 47 on Carolina, and 44 on them boys. All right. So put some respect on the Saints with that. They didn't score 40 points in their last 3 contests, but I digress. But everybody seems to be jumping on this bandwagon. Everybody has put the coal inside of the flame of the train, and that thing is moving, man. It just reminds me of Back to the Future 3, right? When they were trying to go back to the future, right? From the 1800s, they kept on putting that coal in that thing and made that train speed up to 88 miles per hour. That's what it's looking like right now. Everybody trying to hop on this train. But I, for one, I got to say, man, I want them to keep all that love and that fake love that they're giving out, because we all know what this is about. We know that these individuals out there that was leaving the Saints for dead, we all know that, they just trying to correct themselves right now. They just want to be ahead of the curve. They want to make sure that they backtrack. They want to make sure that they moonwalk like Michael Jackson, right? They want to make sure that, oh, man, well, I changed my mind around week 2. I knew the Saints was coming. No, you didn't. No, you did not. Because even we, as Saints fans, didn't know the Saints was coming. I believe that the New Orleans Saints would have been better than they were. I had them going 10-7 after predictions. My first prediction, I had them going 7-10. Then when I seen preseason, I was like, man, they can get 10 wins about this joint. So nobody really seen the New Orleans Saints coming. And it's just absolutely ridiculous that these people are coming out here, repping the New Orleans Saints at this particular point. But it's kind of hard not to rep the New Orleans Saints at this point. They look like the best team, not only in the NFC South, not only in the NFC, but in the entire NFL right now. So everybody wants to get a little bit of that. We know that it never changes. It's kind of like how the world works. Everybody wants to be connected to things that are hot, and the Saints are red hot right now. So with all of this attention, with all of the eyes on the New Orleans Saints, and everybody saying that the Saints are going to be a Super Bowl contender now, will this affect their momentum going forward? And, I've been watching all day today. If you're watching this on a Tuesday night, the Saints had an off day. So you have a lot of Saints players, as well as Coach Dennis Allen, making media runs, being on these nationally syndicated sports talk radio shows. You got Colin Cowherd pretending like he know what the hell he talking about. This dude, when he said, I'm going to be honest with y'all, Who That Nation. When Colin Cowherd said that the Saints draft really well, I was like, man, turn this dude off. Okay. That basically just told me that is radio personality 101. Like, being a radio personality, you got to kind of be a BS artist from time to time. right? You got to be able to get filler in. You got to make it seem like you know what the hell you're talking about. But when he said that, I was like, okay, it's cool. But he had Cam Jordan on the show, and Cam Jordan was talking a little bit about it. And I don't have the clip, but I'll paraphrase it. But one thing that Cam Jordan said in that maybe 5 to 6 minute interview that really made me realize that this team is focused. When Colin Cowherd said, "Thank you, Cam, for coming on the show. You guys are red hot. You 2-0." Cam replied before he left. He said, "Well, we started 2-0 last season." He said, "So we got to keep this thing going." And then when you had Dennis Allen, when he was on Rich Eisen, and he talked about how, Rich Eisen said, "Man, the team looking good. He looking great." And he kind of downgraded it then. So I think that this team is focused. I think that this team is going in the right direction. I think as long as the New Orleans Saints stay focused on the things that they can control, they will continue to be successful. It seems like everybody just pretty much dialed in. And I'm going to tell you why I don't see this train stopping anytime soon. Because the New Orleans Saints, even though what they're doing offensively is impressive, what they're doing defensively is equally impressive. But the thing about it is, Saints fans have been longing for offensive innovation and longing for an offense that was formidable for so long. It kind of overshadows what the defense is doing. Over the last couple of weeks, the defense has been dominant. But now you have a defense that knows they can go out there and do what they do, which is control the line of scrimmage, take away what teams do well. And even if there's a possibility that they can't and be successful that particular week, they know that they have an offense that can be able to go out there and put points on the board, so it doesn't feel like they have to be overwhelmed by the situation. So the Saints could. We ain't seen it yet, but the Saints could win a game defensively. And they also can win games offensively, which we have seen. So I don't see this thing slowing down. The only thing that can slow down the momentum of the New Orleans Saints are the New Orleans Saints. So they got to just stay focused, man. You have a Philadelphia Eagles team, and I know people are saying, they don't look very good. They don't look great. There were some mistakes that were made down the stretch, but you can't look past that. I think a lot of what the New Orleans Saints were dealing with over the last couple of weeks was everybody hearing about the NFC South being terrible. These guys are human. Like they hear what the prognosticators are saying. Like, this team isn't going to be very good. So it's probably going to be one of those situations where those teams went into the game not really taking the Saints serious. But when you hear all week long, like, this is innovative offense, this is an offense that's taking a league by storm, Clint Kubiak this, Clint Kubiak that, Derek Carr this, Derek Carr that, you're going to have teams that are going to be burning a midnight oil trying to slow down this momentum. I think I want to say this. I know some people felt like the first two games would decide what the New Orleans Saints could do. I beg to differ. I think what's going to happen down the stretch will determine who the New Orleans Saints are, because nobody believed in you. Now everybody is singing your praises. How are you going to be able to respond? So I think we're going to get a really good look at who and what the Saints have put together this 2024 season. I'm just excited as everybody else. But, adversity will come. Adversity will come, and there's going to come a time where the New Orleans Saints are going to have to figure it out and play a little bit of a chess game. I don't know if it's going to be this week, maybe this week, but they got to make sure that they stay focused. And from everything that I'm seeing from these interviews and how these players are talking, it seems like they're focused on the task at hand, and you can't ask for anything better than that. But let me go ahead and read some of the comments, see what you all have to say. I also, in a few minutes, will open up the phone lines, take a few of your calls, see what you all have to say about the Saints start and the attention that the Saints have been getting these last few days. D. Granger says, if I was the Saints, I wouldn't do all these interviews that they're now giving, because in the summer, the national media drugged their asses. Well, here's the thing, D. Granger. It's not so much that they want to do these interviews; they're obligated to do them. You know, like especially like with certain personalities and stuff like that. Like they have to do these interviews. Sometimes they can decline, but for the most part, like they have to be able to do those interviews. Like Dennis Allen is obligated to have press conferences and talk with the media and so on and so forth. And then, of course, like I said, you have media days where the media can actually select certain players that they want to talk to at that particular time. So, and also, you got to keep in mind, man, these players, they kind of like to set themselves up for life after football. I think we all can see the direction Cam Jordan is going in. He's probably going to be a play-by-play guy when it's all said and done, or sitting in somebody's studio, maybe Good Morning Football. So he's kind of setting himself up for that. So I don't see him shying away from opportunities where he can kind of show his football knowledge as well as be able to expound and show his, and show his charisma and what have you, because those networks kind of lap that kind of stuff up. But I think they're obligated for the most part to be able to talk to certain stations, certain personalities. So I don't think it's so much them. It's more so like, well, you're obligated to do it. It says we have won games defensively. We haven't gave up more than 19 points. Yeah, I mean, but that's being overshadowed who that records because everybody's looking at the offense. Everybody, like nobody was tripping on the defense. Everybody kind of expected the defense to kind of be what it is right now. It's a championship defense. If you can get an offense that can complement the defense, be able to go out there, put up some points, go out there, maybe play with a lead, the defense can take care of the rest, you're fine. So I just think that the defense is being overshadowed because the offense just basically came out of nowhere. And it did come out of nowhere, regardless of how people may think and talk. Oh, Derek Carr, what y'all got to say now? Like, come on, man. Anybody can grandstand when everything's going right. I ain't got no problem with anybody coming out saying, oh, what you got to say about Derek Carr now. They had somebody that, not even brave enough and bold enough to actually, tweet me with their actual account. I know it had to be somebody that I'm familiar with. They created a fake account just so they can say, what you got to say about Derek Carr now? Spencer Rattler needs to start. Like, when did I ever say Spencer Rattler needs to start? Right. And honestly, like I said, everybody can basically, say I told you so. But I didn't see that energy in June. I didn't see a collage, a plethora of individuals in the chat telling me that Derek Carr about to prove somebody wrong. I didn't see that. I seen maybe a few, but I didn't see that. And now all of a sudden, everybody want to sit up here talking about some you grandstanding, you hot dogging. I will, like, honestly, I will open up the phone line to anybody that think that I'm grandstanding or hot dogging, and I dare anybody to call me a bandwagon fan. I dare you. I dare you. And you need to call and tell me why. I just want to know. Because ain't nothing bandwagon about me. And the thing about it is, what people can't stand is that if I say something that's out of pocket or wrong, I'll come back and correct it. I ain't got no problem with that. See, people see personalities and they see like you all in the chat making this show what it is. And they like, who the hell is he to be able to get the support of the Who Dat Nation to come and watch his shows and all that kind of stuff, probably hating, probably wish that they can have the charisma and the talent that your boy possess. But that's another story for another day. The whole thing, my whole point is, I don't mind admitting when I'm wrong. I'm not Nostradamus. I'm not Miss Cleo. I ain't telling you to call me now for your re-leading. I'm not telling you to do that. I give my opinion. Sometimes I'm right. Sometimes I'm wrong. But for anybody that posts on social media, this is for you, Who Dat Nation, the ones in the chat. Once again, make this show what it is. When you tweeting and all that kind of stuff, notice when you get things right, nobody says anything. When I was the first person that said that Chase Young was coming to New Orleans, I didn't get no credit for it. But they'll tell me, oh, man, you said Derek Carr was going to do this. Like I said, people are going to, they're not going to come to your graduation, but they'll try to come to your annihilation. Did you hear me? They won't come to your graduation or your congratulations, but they damn sure will try to come to your annihilations. But you can't annihilate me because, like I said, I am man enough, bold enough to admit when I'm wrong about certain situations because all this stuff is opinionated. I don't care who you're talking to. Nobody has a crystal ball. Honestly, if I had a crystal ball and I was right all the time, probably wouldn't be doing this show. Well, I take that back because I like doing this show, but I probably would have bet money with BETUS and just won a whole bunch of money if I can just predict every single thing in sports that would happen. But we don't know what's going to happen. Just like we didn't expect for the Saints to look as great as they have over the last 2 games. So, take that in mind, folks. Take that in mind. Says TJ, I hope our team just stays focused because now everyone's talking about us. I like us as underdogs this year. It just feels different. They bonded together. Yeah, I think the trip out to Irvine, California, the fact that their backs was against the wall, hearing that they're terrible, hearing that they're not good enough, hearing the offensive line stinks, hearing what you're going to do because you got Trevor Penning, all that stuff, those guys heard. They heard it. And, they're actually bottling that up right now, and they're using it as motivation. But, you also, another reason why I feel like this isn't going to stop, because you have a lot of seasoned veterans that are looking at their football immortality. Players like DeMario Davis and Cam Jordan and Tyrann Mathieu, like these players know that they don't have much time left. They have more football behind them than ahead of them. Now, a guy like Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed, they feel like it's forever, right? Because you're young, you're in your prime, et cetera, et cetera. But you have some veterans on this team that understand that tomorrow isn't promised, and these opportunities are not going to always present themselves. So you better take advantage of them and strike while the iron is hot. You have a bunch of players on this team that have been, absent from the playoffs over the last few years. And then you also have some guys that never went to the playoffs. So you have some narratives that want to be changed here. So I feel like the one weakness that everybody felt the New Orleans Saints had by having a relatively older roster is kind of working in their benefit right now, because you do have continuity. You have players that are veterans, that are leaders, not just in the Saints locker room, but around the NFL. They're well respected. So you bring that to the field and also into the locker room. You have enough guys in that locker room to keep these young guys focused. Right now, like I say, you're 23, 24 years old. You're draped in Gucci and gold, and everything's going the right way, and you feel like you have years left. But these older veterans help these young players keep their eyes on the prize, and as long as they do that, they hold each other accountable, I think they'll be just fine. Extremely proud of our offensive line. Yeah, Dana, me too. I'm extremely excited and proud of what those guys have done. Also, you got to give Clint Kubiak credit with that, and the offensive line coach. They've done a really good job at understanding where this offensive line is limited, and they're catering to their strengths. And I think that as long as you do that, then you'll be fine. Right. I think that they haven't been really tested yet. There's going to come a time where the New Orleans Saints will be in one of those phone booth games. And we'll see what this offensive line is capable of. But as of right now, they're batting 1,000 when it comes to the decision-making and how they're using this offensive line. It's very formidable right now. They was hating on that podcast, TJ. Yeah, I mean, look, everybody wished that their team had prosperity. Everybody wishes that their team was looking as good as the Saints are. But at the end of the day, look, I'm not going to poo-poo or try to, hate on them. Like, Tampa looks really good. Like, nobody expected for Tampa to look as good as they do. And, I don't like the Atlanta Falcons, and neither do you. But, they've done some things to improve their football team. But I just think that the Saints have improved their football team as well. And I felt as if the New Orleans Saints were better and are better than the Atlanta Falcons. Because the Saints, to me, all they really just needed was somebody, that can be able to bring some offensive innovation to this team, to inject a little bit of a pulse, into this team. And I don't know if y'all noticed this or not, but if you look around the National Football League, Have you noticed that some of these young hotshot offensive coordinators have been getting the best of these older guard defensive coordinators? Like Mike Zimmer is an OG in the game, right? But you have a 37-year-old offensive coordinator in Clint Kubiak taking that boy to school. Liam Corum for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, like basically just took Aaron Glenn and his defensive staff to school. Like if you look around the National Football League, man, we're starting to notice that some of these older cats are kind of like they're not adapting with the times. And if you don't adapt with the times, you're going to find yourself on the outside looking in. You know, you got to be able to grow and develop and understand what's working. Like, I feel like that's the reason why the Eagles end up losing on Monday Night Football to the Falcons, because you had Vic Fangio that tried to stay true to himself, who is trying to get pressure with 4 guys who are incapable of being able to penetrate the offensive line to get pressure on Kirk Cousins to move him off his spot. No stunts, no exotic blitzes, nothing, right? You're trying to stay true to yourself, but in the process of staying true to yourself, you lost yourself the football game. And you're getting out coached by a guy, I want to say he's like 38, and Zach Robinson. So these older guards, man, they're going to have to step it up, man, and understand, like, yeah, I know football. I've been watching it for I don't know how long, and Bill Walsh told me, like, man, you got to adapt with the times or you're going to fall off. But I have noticed, like, some of these OG defensive coordinators are getting embarrassed and taken to school by some of these younger guys. It's like watching, it's like having a phone, a smartphone, and then, you got your OGs up there that don't want to upgrade. Man, this flip phone and brought me through so much, right? And then all I need is this flip phone. Okay, we'll see. You fall down in a house or something like that, you can put an app on your smartphone and say, I'm falling and I can't get up. That flip phone, can it help you? Probably not. Probably not. Let me go ahead and open up the phone lines, man. Enough from me. We'll get back to the chat just a little bit later. I'll take a few phone calls. See what you all have to say. Are you nervous about the national attention that the New Orleans Saints are getting? Do you feel that maybe they need to maybe quiet down the noise? They're too loud. They're making too much noise. What y'all think? What y'all think about that? But, I know that some people don't want to hear what I have to say in regards to Clint Kubiak, but, man, this guy is looking like a one and done. Like, he's looking like a one and done, man. And, like, this is a guy who is a Kyle Shanahan, disciple or, part of that coaching tree. And, he kind of reminds me of Kyle Shanahan. He's like an even keel guy. I just wonder, man, like, if the New Orleans Saints, and I'm sorry, but I would be remiss if I didn't mention this. What if the New Orleans Saints would have just been like, you know what, man, let's go out here and get a new head coach. We're going to go out here like we like Dennis, but hopefully he can stay here as a defensive coordinator. Let's go out here and get ourselves another head coach. And let's just say they would have ended up getting Clint Kubiak. And you had Dennis Allen as your defensive coordinator. I think that you probably would have set yourself up for success, for years to come. The thing about it is, I like what Dennis Allen is doing, of course, good defensive mind. But if Clint Kubiak was to leave, and I got an idea, like I could just see him being the next coach of the Chicago Bears next year. But let's just say if he leaves, you're going to have to replicate that by finding somebody else that can bring that offense and be able to be as crafty as Clint Kubiak is. So, I mean, that's something that, a lot of Saints fans don't want to worry about. They're like, man, why y'all got to think like that? But, man, you got to think about that stuff. You got to think about that stuff, man. You can't just sit up here and just, avoid the inevitable or whatever like that, right? I know this woman don't really love me as much, you know what I'm saying? I know she ain't, I know she about to leave and go holler at, you know what I'm saying, this other dude, but she here with me right now. Like, I don't think that make much sense. I don't think that make much sense, folks. I don't. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, you got to think about, what's ahead, right? You know what I'm saying? You got to think about that. We don't want to think about those situations, but the way that this guy is coaching his team, man, he's coaching his team like he wants a head coaching job. And the way that the media is talking about him right now, and if he can keep this momentum up, who that nation, like it's gonna be like one of those decisions that that's gonna have to be made. And so hopefully the Saints can strike while the iron is hot. Maybe they can, do a Dan Quinn, Kyle Shanahan thing where he got the Falcons into the Super Bowl. And if you can get there, and win a Super Bowl, then you can be happy for the guy, and hopefully you can replicate that again. But Chosen, what's going on, man? How you doing?
What's up, big brother? Hey, man, I just want to say shout out to the Who That Nation, man. We turned that you know what up at the NFC Roundtable, man. If y'all wasn't there, I'm telling you, boy, it was a place to be, man. We represented. They were trying to, you know what I'm saying? It was good fun for the NFC South. They were trying to talk their noise. We came in there, we shut it down. You know how we do. We showed up, we showed out. We dropped 40 in the chat. so you know what I'm saying? TJ, you was talking your ish. I'm like, yeah, you couldn't hear me, but I'm like, yeah, stand on their neck. Don't
Man.
don't let up. Don't let up. Like we want all the smoke, man. We've been here all off season. You know what I'm saying? And rightfully so. And rightfully
Mhm.
so. That's gonna
Right.
lead to my next point. But
Mhm.
man, like it was lit, bro. So I want to start off by saying that, TJ, bro. Like that was nice. That was my first time getting to catch one live.
Oh
So
man.
I enjoyed it, bro.
Yeah, I love doing that show, man. Shouts out to those brothers, man. James, shouts out to him, man. Shouts out to Rope over there, man. And shouts out to Smitty, man. I mean, they work really hard, man. I mean, we kind of, bust each other chops, man,
So
but
you and
it's
Smitty got
all
that chemistry, boy.
hey
Y'all
man,
got
that's
that.
my guy, man. Him and Birdo, man. Those like if we did something else outside of like sports or whatever like that, man, like I think but man, those some cool guys right there. But we bust each other chops, man. We don't hold back no punches, man. But it's all love, and we laugh about it at the end or whatever like that. But
Oh
man,
yeah.
that's what this show is about, man. We trying to elevate that show, and man, I appreciate it, Chosen, for coming over there, man.
Oh yeah, man. But I ain't got too much. I just want to say I'm glad these guys are clicking. And all I can say is, man, just stay focused. Look like Clint Kubiak. With you know what I'm saying, if you can catch him in the background when Dennis was giving the speech and they celebrating, he's just dialed in, bro. Like he just
Mm-hmm.
dialed in. Not too much of him. He not rattled by emotions. He just let his play calling do the talking. So it seemed like he's pretty locked in. These players locked in. We're not letting the. If I could quote Sean Payton, they not taking the cheese. You know what I'm saying? They
Right.
they they doing what they gotta do, and
Mm-hmm.
we staying focused. Is on the Philly. And if you don't mind, TJ, I missed the stream yesterday. But I would like to answer your question about do we owe Derek Carr an apology, if you don't
Right.
mind.
Yeah.
I would say respectfully, no. And I would say this because I can only judge and I can only make assumptions and you know, I can only voice my opinion about what I see. And we didn't see much. It's not that we was doing it because we making this stuff up. But TJ, if you show me a dog walking in the rain and you ask me what do I see, I'm gonna tell you a dog walking in the rain. I can't tell you nothing else but what I see. I don't think that, and a lot of people give you criticism, not you, but I'm saying in general, we get a lot of criticism about how we spoke about Carr, but we was only going off of what we seen. It's not like we prayed on his downfall. Some people did, but
Right.
you can only make assumptions. You can only voice your opinion based off what you see. Now,
Mm-hmm.
if we talking about anybody deserving an apology, is Alvin Kamara, because that's I feel like he deserved more of an apology over Derek Carr because y'all was saying this
Right.
man was trash. How can you say he's washed with limited touches or when he's not being used properly? So if anybody deserve an apology, it's Alvin Kamara. I'm not about to apologize. It's just like if I get cheated on and you do this, okay, I'm gonna forgive you, but I'm not gonna forget. It's just because I forgave you don't mean it didn't happen. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So
Right.
Carr is because Carr playing good now, that don't erase the mediocre play that we see. What I'm supposed to do about that? He's good now. I'm based it and I'm voicing it off of what I see now. If God forbid, knock on wood, if he start playing trash now, guess what I'm gonna go back to saying? He playing like slow now. Like I can only judge what I see. This is not. I don't take none of this stuff personal. I'm not fair weather. I'm not biased. Sometimes I am when it goes against other teams, but for the most part, I gotta call it like I see it. And if I see trash play, I'm gonna call trash play. If I see superstar elite play, I'm gonna give kudos where it's at. You know what I'm saying? So if
Mm-hmm.
anybody deserves an apology, It's Alvin Kamara. And shout out to somebody in the comment had brought it up too. And I'm glad we on the same page. But I feel like Alvin Kamara is position to really showcase what he's got going on. Clint really changed his organization. He got everybody talk, not by himself, but a collective group. They got everybody is on the same page, like Alvin said. Everybody's clicking. We dialed in. We understand what it is. There's a sense of urgency. Dennis Allen got some swag finally. I don't know where he
Right.
went. That boy must have went to Burlington Coat Factory and cut a sale. My dog, lick my dog. Talk. He quoting Kendrick Lamar. Like he finally, they having fun. They buying into it, man.
Mhm.
It's like everything's gelling, bro. Like it's finally here. I don't matter if it took too long to get here. It's here now.
Right.
Kubiak gonna coach himself into another job, bro. And you can't blame him. We just gonna have to do our due diligence. If somebody say they don't want to be here, don't hold them back, y'all. If we didn't learn anything from this experience, if somebody don't want the job, do not force them because you never know who's next in line waiting to get that job, bro. We can all imagine what if we would have got him while Jameis was still here, or when
Right.
we first got Carr. Why do we, you know what I'm saying? We could have had this success coming in. Ain't no telling where we would have been with Kubiak a year under our belt already, going into year 2, if he still would have been with us. So we just gotta do that. And I wanted to answer that question before I go, man. I wanted to answer that question about Derek Carr yesterday because it was a good topic. But no, I feel like we do not owe him an apology based on what you saw us, man. If you tell me it's raining outside and I go out there and you ask me what I see, I'm gonna see rain. I'm not gonna tell you snow. I'm not gonna tell you nothing else, even if it changed. I'm gonna tell you what I saw beforehand. But other than that, I'm gonna give his product his kudos now and his props now because that's what I see now. And I can only give you what I see. So that's pretty much all I got, TJ. They can keep it up. They gonna keep playing good, and I just hope they just stay focused. Don't let these wins and dropping 40, don't let it get you so prideful to where you belittling yourself and playing down a competition. Play like
Right.
you had on fire every game, every
Right.
playoff moment. We've been playing playoff moment since day one. We got to keep that playoff intensity energy all the way through the season, and we'll just let the chips fall where they may, man.
Yeah, I agree, man. I think that you got to make sure that you just continue to put your foot on the gas. We know that teams, they're going to get better, man. I mean, you think about the Green Bay Packers, they're squeaking out wins right now with Malik Willis, but Jordan Love comes back. I expect for them to be a playoff contender. Expect for the Cowboys to be able to get themselves together. Minnesota is looking pretty good, very quietly out there with Sam Darnold. So, I mean, they got to continue to work, man. They got to continue to grind. I didn't even mention Tampa Bay, man. Like them or not, I mean, they making some noise here, and so is Atlanta. So you can't, like, take your foot off the gas and just kind of, rest on your laurels and be like, hey, man, we doing it. You know what I'm saying? You seen what ESPN said about me. You seen I was on Stevens A-list. Like,
Yeah, don't
man,
worry
you got to
about it.
keep this momentum going, man.
Before I go, I in the round table, bro, they were saying Dallas, they moved the goalposts. First it was Panther, now Dallas trash. Okay, remember, y'all gotta play Dallas. Y'all have to play Dallas. They trash, right? They trash when we beat them. So if y'all don't beat them, what that's gonna say about y'all? That's all I got to say. What that's gonna say about y'all? When the
Yeah.
Saints beat them, they trash. But if y'all just so happy come up short against them, what's gonna be the excuse then? Don't go back and say they good. They play a playoff team because you didn't give us those same kudos when we beat them. So
Yeah, I
I'll
agree.
keep that same energy. Keep that same energy. Y'all gotta play them now. They trash. Remember, y'all said they was trash when we played them. Now, when y'all play them, and if y'all and they just so happen to beat y'all lost to a trash team, quote unquote. That's all I'm
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
say.
Yeah, I agree, man. But that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna move the goalposts, man. It's just the fact that the Saints have done it and they've done it and made it look impressive and relatively easy. Like they can't fathom or accept the fact that, well, maybe the New Orleans Saints are a good football team. They know it. But just like anything else, man, you don't want to give the person that you despise the most credit. It's just the way that it goes. But I mean, we see what the Saints are doing, and honestly, that's what this show is about, chosen tonight. The fact that we're not looking at the press clippings here, and what people are saying about the team, that's fine, whatever. But as long as they put their foot on the gas and keep it there, they should be fine. But
Only ones that
chosen,
matters in the people in the building. Thank you, man.
yeah, man, appreciate it, man. Call back anytime, brother.
Yes, sir. Who that?
All right, who that? Yeah, man. I agree with what Chosen said, man. I'm not really concerned about that, man. Moving the goalpost. I kind of expected that, I mean, it's kind of the same way, with the Falcon victory, right? Everybody was up there, when they lost to the Steelers, and all I seen across my timeline was Kirk Cousins, the ankle gate, if you will, videos of Kirk Cousins, dropping back. You see he limping. He limping to the huddle. Now all of a sudden, like, he facilitates this 2-minute drill. He back, baby, he back. Oh man, y'all better be on the lookout. Like, come on, man. I think sometimes, I think they create narratives to pacify themselves. And I don't even think they believe that anybody will believe the rhetoric that they're talking. It's just the fact to kind of pacify them, to put their mind at ease to the fact that, I don't know, maybe your team is okay, but, they ain't about to just sit up here and just become world beaters here. So I don't know. But at the end of the day, as long as the Saints stay focused, they can be one of the toughest teams in the NFC. We're going to move on to Jordan. Jordan, how you doing, man?
How you doing, TJ?
I'm doing fine, man. Thank you for chiming in. What you got for us?
Man, I would like to say it is good to have the Saints winning. You walk into work, you're feeling different, you're feeling good about yourself.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's just a good time in New Orleans. But what I have to say is I want to congratulate Dennis Allen on finally getting rid of the stench of Sean Payton and Drew Brees. The smartest man in the room right now is looking like Mickey Loomis, even though he kind of wandered his way into success, but he's bought himself more time. And we got to give it up to those guys. Sean Payton out there in Denver looking like he on this last leg, right? They drafted Bo Nix and all them, and they are the offense of the past, and they look like it. So we have to commend them on that, but we also have to stay out the media because we still have questions to answer as a team. We have to answer questions about our defensive line. It might not affect us now, but you seen Philadelphia. If you can't rush the passer with 4, you're gonna lose a lot of games in this league. Kirk Cousins picked them apart. They couldn't even get a hand on this guy. And we're gonna have to answer the question, okay, Cam Jordan, you did a lot for us. Maybe 30 snaps a game is what we need from you right now. Come in on first down, stopping the run, but we got to get back to this passer. Because teams like Kansas City that's coming up, the Falcons, you're gonna have to get these quarterbacks on the ground. So, but that's Dennis Allen's problem to deal with. So this season is going to be about the development of Dennis Allen. Could you make these calls? Are you man enough to make these calls? Are you going to lead us? Or are you just going to put your hands in your pocket? So we still have questions to ask. Could Derek Carr show up in a big moment? I'm not overlooking the Philadelphia Eagles, but looking at them Monday night, we're going to run for 200 yards on these people. So I'm not. Oh, you go ahead.
No, what I was going to say, Jordan, is you make some very good points when you're talking about this team, like having some question marks. That's the reason why, I mean, we're excited right now is because, right now the team is exceeding expectations, but there's going to come a time, like you alluded to, that you're going to have to deal with hardships, and we're going to see, how you can get out of those situations. But I do feel like, you need to give, the front office a little bit of credit there. I think that you have to give Dennis Allen credit for being willing to be patient. He waited for Clint Kubiak, because you got to keep in mind, like, they interviewed quite a few people, but the 49ers at the time, they were going through the playoffs, and of course they went to the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, they didn't get the job done, but that's who he wanted. He wanted Clint Kubiak. He wanted the Saints to be a physical football team. So, I can understand why Dennis Allen, the change in his personality, because I think for the first time, he feels like this team is his. And, I think that goes a long way. You don't have the whispers in a corner. I've said this several times, Jordan. You don't have the whispers in a corner from guys that you didn't hire that feel like they can do better than you. You don't have that anymore. Everybody in the building, they have bought in because you brought them in. So I think that, he's doing a really good job right now. And, I think it's a really good combination. I said it on the NFC South roundtable. Dennis Allen has found his Greg Williams and Clint Kubiak. Just like Sean Payton needed Greg Williams in order for him to kind of make that defense formidable. Well, Dennis Allen did the same thing with Clint Kubiak, and it's looking like that. But, I mean, it's very early in the season, but as of right now, they look like it's a match made in heaven.
Right. And when you look at the sports media, you could tell these talking heads, they haven't watched the Saints game in 3 years.
No, not at all.
They haven't.
We know that.
And it bothers me. Once the Saints win 2 games, they talking about they got to go all the way back to 2009 to compare us to that team when we're a different team. I understand the comparisons to Clint Kubiak, but guess what? Our personnel is 100% different from what they have going on in San Francisco. We have skilled players. We have at least 4 or 5 of them that if you get the ball in space, they can make a play. In San Francisco, they have maybe 1 or 2 of those guys. So it's a totally different thing. And we bringing a top 5 defense to the table and possibly a top 10 offense. We still got a long ways to go. So I said top 10 for the offense, but 40 points a game not sustainable in the NFL. It's just not. So I don't even look at the media. Last week we were ranked number 26. I kid you not. Go look back in the power rankings. Today we shot up to 9.
You know what that remind me of? It reminds me, and I gotta say it. It reminds me of the Colorado Buffaloes when Deion Sanders first got there. You remember like the first game they played against TCU, right? And then all of a sudden, like, oh, nobody expected them to beat TCU, and then they upset TCU, and the next week they was ranked. And then of course they went on to, I hope that this doesn't happen, but they only won 4 games. They went 4-8. So it was kind of like a hype move, you know what I'm saying? Like, we gonna put them up there or whatever like that, because they want to talk about them. And the thing about it is, when you have put these mainstream football teams on a pedestal, now you have no choice but to give the Saints the credit, because you spend most of your time talking about the Cowboys and how they're contenders, and this team from New Orleans comes up in here, small media market, they slap them around. So they got to be the team. So, man, all this stuff right here, man, is basically just window dressing. That's why I feel like the New Orleans Saints cannot keep their eyes off the prize, man. The prize is winning these games, putting yourself in a really good position, being a playoff team, winning the division. That is what your goal needs to be. I mean, all this stuff about power rankings and stuff like that, honestly, it's for people like myself and you, Jordan, to have these type of conversations and break those things down. As far as these players, man, they need to be focused on trying to come up with the best game plan possible to knock off these Eagles and keep this momentum going.
Right. And the last thing I got, TJ, when you look at these other teams, the Bengals, the Ravens, the Falcons, all these preseason Super Bowl champions that we have out here,
right.
We can't fall into that. We can't fall into that trap because they done won the Super Bowl before even getting there. So now they losing to teams that on a normal week they beaten by 30.
Yeah.
So the Saints, hey, this week 2, we feeling good. But guess what? Philadelphia next. Philadelphia looking to bounce back. They still got players. I don't think their defense is good per se, but they still got an offense that could put up points. We got to turn our focus to that. As much as we want to celebrate beating the Cowboys, because we took them to the woodshed, you know, and then we made them pick their own switch off the tree, and then we whooped them. But we have to turn our focus to them, and I believe we're gonna beat them in the ballpark of 28-7 because their defense is a no-go. It really is.
Wow.
But that Kansas City game, I think is gonna be interesting because like we were able to scheme Michael Parsons out the game. It's much harder to scheme a D tackle out the game. So to see how we respond on offense versus Kansas City, that's gonna be a test for us, and that's gonna tell us what we got. But right now, we focus on finding our identity, being a physical football team, and executing. And I see us possibly, if we get past next week, we probably could hit the 6-week period at 5-1, even 6-0. But we have to work, and play the team in front of us.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you just got to take it 1 week at a time, be dialed in, buy into the next week, like come up with the game plan, execute the game plan, and then, celebrate, have your music blasting, have the smoke going in the locker room. But, after that, man, it's just back to business. And I like the mentality of the football team because, like I said, man, it's a lot of PR stuff that be going on around these organizations when they winning, but some of these guys, they don't continue to buy in. They don't continue to stay focused. But it just seems like this is a team that understands that they have some really good things in front of them, and they want to be able to capitalize on that. But Jordan, thank you so much, man. Appreciate the call. Call back anytime, man. Thank you for that.
All right, I appreciate you.
All right, take care, man. Yeah, Jordan, I mean, he made some very compelling points. When you look at this team, like you just got to take it one game at a time. The Saints, they have chances. They got opportunities. They got a chance to beat the Philadelphia Eagles. And I still want to see if this team can be able to neutralize running quarterbacks, man. I seen Jalen Hurts make some plays with his legs, but, not too many with the Atlanta Falcons. And it just seems to me like I just don't get it. Like these dual threat quarterbacks that come into the league, right? They come into the league and they're known for being dual threats, the ability to be able to move around and throw the ball, right? It creates a matchup problem. But then all of a sudden, I guess they get into the league and now they want to be a drop back pocket passer. And I don't, look, I hope they continue to do this because it works in the Saints' favor. But it seemed like Jalen Hurts, they trying to make him make plays from the pocket. And I think that was one of the main reasons why Philadelphia just couldn't get the job done. And I get it, when you running out of the pocket, you become a runner, and you taking, hits, but that's what got you there. That's what made you compelling. That's what got you the contract extension. So I want to see, man, what type of game plan that they're going to have, but I'm not taking the Philadelphia Eagles lightly. I'm more concerned about this Eagles game than I was with the Cowboys because Dak Prescott, he can scramble, but he ain't scrambling like Jalen Hurts can. Jalen Hurts scrambles out of the pocket and he comes through like he can break tackles. Like he becomes almost like a Taysom Hill type runner when he is out there in space. So the Saints are going to have to keep that spy and they're going to have to play disciplined defense, man. We're going to go ahead to Keen Arthur. Keen Arthur, how you doing, man?
Well, now what's down, big dog?
Man, what's going on, man? Yes, sir. How you doing,
cool,
man?
I got a couple of things, bro, because being where we from, TJ, I'm 36, big dog. I think you were 37, huh?
I'm 38, man.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, man.
Well, it's a blessing, bro.
Yeah, man.
But I got to ask you something, bro. You remember when we was growing up, I don't know if y'all said this, because you said you from the East Bank. I'm from the West Bank. I'm from the Point.
All right.
So we used to say Jeffin. Y'all used to say that? Like side Jeffin?
Yeah, side Jeffin. Yeah, man. Yeah, we used to
say that. That's all I got from the media today, bro. And we couldn't. I know how you was because we was the same way. We can't stand that in New Orleans. The locals never did like people who did all that jeffing. We don't like that. So y'all played on us for all the off season. Y'all played on us and was telling everybody and their mama who would listen how we was garbage. We wasn't gonna do nothing. The Carolina Panthers was a good team and they was gonna smoke us. Y'all did all that, and now all of a sudden, all y'all acting like y'all prognosticating and acting like y'all Nostradamus, and y'all just knew New Orleans was gonna be like this. Bro, I'm not trying to hear it, dog. And I don't know if you saw me on the round table in the chat, bro. I was swinging up in that chat, boy.
I think a lot of I seen a few. When I switched over to my phone, I couldn't see like the actual chat. So yeah, man. I didn't get the opportunity to see what everybody had to say, but
man,
yeah, I did. At the beginning of the show, I know you were there. I see you in the chat. Yeah,
I sent the super chat just to support you, bro. I was like,
I appreciate it.
These dudes up here sitting there talking about what we were supposed to do. Oh, the Saints did what they were supposed to do against Dallas. Wait, hold on. What you're supposed to do is based on expectations, correct?
Correct.
Everybody expected us to get blown out, correct?
That's true.
So now how all of a sudden you move the goalposts and say we were supposed to do that to Dallas?
Well,
that don't make sense, homie.
Well, like I said, King Arthur, nobody wants to come to grips with the fact that the team that they despise the most, or the team that they need to lose in order for their team to generate buzz or get the competitive advantage, they don't want to admit that that team is good or better than what they're putting together. So, I mean, look, I didn't expect for them to come up in there and be giving out flowers and talking about how great the New Orleans Saints are. But, I just know the reality. I know the reality is you look for the exception of maybe Tampa. I just feel like the New Orleans Saints are just better. I think they're better than the Atlanta Falcons. I think the Falcons are good. Like I do. I think I ain't going to even hate on them. I think that they have improved as a football team. And, but at the same time, they had to make these improvements. I feel like the Saints last year were better than them, and the Saints have improved. So, like I said, if you go into the second floor, the Saints that moved up to the third floor, so they higher than you. So that's just the way that it goes. I'm not poo-pooing on them. So, but I didn't think they were going to come in there and just be giving out praise to the New Orleans Saints. I didn't think that at all, man. So I didn't expect that. But we know that they thought that this was going to be that game where the chickens came home to roost, so to speak, brother.
I can agree with that. And here's the thing, TJ. Like I think you started the podcast in what, 2018, 2017?
In 2018, yep.
And I've been here ever since. The thing that made me subscribe to you, bro, was objectivity. Because I've been a Saints fan as long as it's been in terms of me being able to understand what football is from a kid, you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
So I like people who can be objective and still operate in their fandom as well. Like, yeah, I'm a fan, but if ain't nobody above reproach, you hear me?
Right.
And I don't get that from these other podcasters, these other teams and stuff like that, especially teams like the Falcons and stuff like that, and like Dallas. They're not objective, which makes them look delusional, and it's hard to have conversations with people like that, you know? So,
well, yeah, I agree with you. I think, Arthur, it is, some people, when they do podcasts, they do it because they're passionate about something, right? And sometimes, I think that, and I thank God for this. I feel like, I got the benefit of being a radio personality doing podcasting. So, it kind of teaches you to have to see, both sides of the coin. I just feel like, if I'm just sitting up here just telling y'all this how great the New Orleans Saints are, like in situations where they're not that great, I just feel like I'm doing a disservice. And I feel like anybody that's doing that is doing a disservice. And you probably have people that's going to follow you, King Arthur, because you're saying everything that they actually believe in. But I don't really buy into that because, people will tell me all the time that I'm not a real Saints fan. Well, how many shows have you seen me do? Or do you watch the State of the Saints podcast? Or do you just see me on social media and just think that you just know who I am? So I don't I never operate like that. I never will operate like that. And I appreciate you for saying that, man, because I just feel like you're doing a disservice to the people that support you if you're just telling them what they want to hear and instead of telling them what they need to hear.
Facts. I wanted to you know how I be asking you who your Bayou Baller trophy go to?
Mm-hmm.
I got a little bit of a hot take for you, dog. It ain't to me, it ain't AK, it ain't Rashid, it ain't Derek Carr, it ain't Clint Kubiak. It's the O-line, bro. For me, at least this week. They made DeMarcus Lawrence and Micah Parsons look obsolete, bro. I ain't never seen nothing like that. I don't know if you mess with Deuce over there at the Who That Confessional, but he be doing film breakdowns.
Oh yeah, that's my guy right there, man. Yeah, that's my dude.
Bruh, the clips that he was showing how the offensive line was using that wide zone to take Micah Parsons and the rest of them boys out the picture. It was a masterclass on how your O line is supposed to attack the D line in the trenches.
Right.
And to me, none of what we did on them first 6 drives happens without the way that O line played.
Right. I agree. I agree with you.
That's my Bayou Baller trophy right there, bro.
Yeah, I mean, you got to give credit, King Arthur, to the offensive line and how they've been playing over the last couple of weeks. I mean, coming into the season with a bunch of scrutiny, I mean, that includes me. Like I say, man, I'm not going to throw the brick and hide my hand. I was very critical of this offensive line, and I'm not going to even talk about who else said that. I'm talking about it from my perspective. But they went out there for the last 2 weeks and they've really like changed the narrative. Now, like I said, as the years, as the year goes on, you're probably going to see some imperfections. You're probably not going to see some of the best outings, but you got to give credit to Clint Kubiak and his offensive staff, man. The offensive line coaches, Jari Evans out there, helping out as well. Shouts out to my guy, Jari. They're putting these offensive linemen in the best position to succeed. And you know what's happening every single week along with good offensive line play, King Arthur? Confidence, man. When you're not hearing about how bad you are or how much you suck or, like get this bum off the field, it gives you an opportunity to go out there, watch the film, and know that there's an opportunity for you to be able to be better next week. And I think Trevor Penny needed something like that. I think this offensive line as a whole unit needed this. And if they can continue to build on this, man, they can be something special. And they're put in the right position right now. Alvin Kamara is running the ball extremely well. It seems like these guys are having fun out there because this offense allows them to be mean and nasty and physical, man, the way that you want your offensive line to be. To me, King Arthur, I think what we're seeing from New Orleans Saints, we're seeing an NFC South team with an NFC West mind frame. They're looking like the San Francisco 49ers teams. They're looking like those Seahawks teams, big, physical, and, they're changing the narrative. So they look like a completely different team. And I'm having an appreciation for what I'm seeing right now. You got to be optimistic, regardless of it just being 2 games into the season. You got to believe that this is going to be something special happening this year.
I feel that, bro. As always, I don't want to take too much of your time, but like I said, I ain't just a fan of the Saints. I'm a fan of people who are objective, bro. You got a fan in me, homie. And
man, I appreciate
hope
it, man.
you continue to keep being your authentic self. Forget what these people out here talking about, because most of them don't have a clue anyway. You hear me?
Right.
So the Saints going to do what they do. I think we're going to handle Philly. I think the game going to be closer, but I think we're going to handle Philly. And I'm excited to see what we're doing going forward, bro. Kudos to the Saints. Kudos to the Who Dat, man.
Yeah, man. I appreciate it, King Arthur, man. Thank you for the support. Thank you for coming over to the round table and supporting this show, man, from the beginning. I appreciate it, man. It's people like you that make this show what it is. It's people like you that make me happy to sit in front of this camera and behind this microphone and do what I'm doing right now, man. And as long as you have people like you that support me, man, I'm going to continue to do it. And, we'll let the rest work itself out. But I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
All right, big homie. Have a good night and go be great.
All right, man. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, man. Shouts out to King Arthur and the rest of you, man, like that support this show. Like I said, it's people like you that make this show worthwhile. And, I appreciate it, man. I know, what this show started from. I know where it started from, I should say. I know where I see it going. And, wherever I go, I'm taking you all with me because I wouldn't be here. I'm serious. Like, I'm not just saying that because it sounds good. I wouldn't be in the position. I don't think I wouldn't have like some of these opportunities if it wasn't for the support of the Who Dat Nation. And you motivate me in ways that you all don't even realize. And I appreciate the love and support that you all show. Because, I mean, not only do y'all come over here, but any other place that I go, if I'm being asked to be interviewed, like you all listen and share and like, that means a lot to me. And I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. We're going to go ahead and end the calls with Cartel, man. Cartel, how you doing, man? Cartel, are you there? All right, we're going to try to get Cartel back in there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and kick you out and then just call back in, man. Just call back in. Maybe there was a connection issue. But until then, I'll just go ahead and I'll read some of the comments. Jerry, if you want to come back in, man, feel free to do so. Let's see. Let's go. Monster. Monster says, I hope this thing don't crash and burn, but I'm believing that this is real. Well, look, I think that you got something that you can actually build on. I think the biggest thing that you have to deal with is to make sure that you stay focused. Keep your eyes on the prize and make sure that you win. You got to win a battle of attrition. You got to win that. You got to win a battle of attrition. You need a little bit of luck from time to time. We've seen it on Monday night, Philadelphia and Atlanta. That was luck. But Yeah, I'm not gonna poo-poo on that. I'm not gonna sit up here and just, like, man, sometimes you need a little luck sometimes. And we know that, man, the Atlanta Falcons have been the gift that keeps on giving if you're a Saint fan. I was, bro, I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I was like, it just set up so wonderful for like the bottom to drop. I thought for sure, I was like, man, Jalen Hurts, if he can just get Jake Elliott into field goal range after Drake London like had that unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, I was like, man, please, pretty please. Boy, if that would have happened, whoo-wee, boy. Man, but sometimes, when you become unlucky, sometimes, you need a little bit of luck on your side, what they say. So, every now and then the sun shines on the dogs, so that was just their moment. But it kind of saved their season, because going into a game against the world champ Kansas City Chiefs and you 0-2, yeah, it kind of saved their season. But we're gonna go to Ray. Ray, what's going on, man? Ray, are you there? Okay, we're gonna move on. Ray, you can call back in. Cartel, are you there?
What was down, baby? You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now, man. I can hear you. Man.
Big brother, listen, let me talk to you for a second. Listen, say shout out to the whole Who That Nation, everybody in the chat, you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Say I'm nervous, you hear me? I ain't never, you hear me? I ain't never really, but it's my first time, Listen, shout out to that boy, King Arthur, because he know what he talking about. You hear me? Every time he get on here, he be talking that noise, and I really be feeling it. I be loud. I don't know what. You know what I'm saying? I be turned up every time he say something, because he know his knowledge. So I got a couple topics. You hear me?
Okay.
Man, listen, bro. Man, this is a blessing, bro. Listen, bro. So, listen, I love you, bro. Like, real talk. You hear me?
I appreciate it, man. Thank you, man.
Man, shout out to Pac-Man. You hear me? I've been here since the slideshow days back in 2018. You hear me? And this whole podcast, it get me through my tough times. It get me through like my rough days. It get me through my down days when my Saints playing bad, baby. Like, man, like, it uplift me, brother. And I know you blessed by the Most High, and I can feel it every time you talk. You hear me? But I'm gonna say one thing before I say what I gotta get into. Stop taking it easy. I know it's a whole. I know you got. I know you gotta. You got to play your part. But please, brother, stop taking it easy on them people, bro. On that podcast. You hear me? Because you be taking it easy on them. I know you be letting up. I be like, man, push the gas pedal like I want Dennis Allen to do. Like put it down. Don't come on here with the second team. You hear me? But look, man, listen, I appreciate you biting me up and jump. Like I say, I'm nervous. I don't know. I don't really know if I can come out right.
Man. Hey, you good, Cartel, man. First off, man, look, I appreciate all the kind words that you said, man. I appreciate it, bro.
Lord.
Honestly, it means a lot to me. As far as like, okay, with the NFC South roundtable, I'm gonna just say this, right?
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I'm being objective, but at the same time entertaining and informative at the same time. Now,
man, I feel you.
Like, I don't want to just like, I kind of like spread it out, man. I kind of spread it out. I try to bring the energy. I try to like, I try to push like certain people, you know what I'm saying? Like that's on the show, you know, but at the end of the day, like, like if it comes to a point, man, like I'm gonna call something out. I was kind of like laid back tonight, to be honest with you, man, because
the last two in
I was
4-0 situations.
I was 4-0, man. Yes, like sir. I called every single game. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody won.
Bet, bro,
you know what I'm saying? So I'm like,
could have had money on me. You hear me? Could have had some money in my pocket. I don't bet, but I could, based off of your knowledge. I just took a step back, man. I just let them have it today, man. Smitty, man, like, man, they need to talk about their quarterback. And I mean, Carolina, I mean, my goodness, man. You need to lay hands on. They need Benny Hinn, Bishop TD Jakes, Cleflo Dollar. Where's the Oliver with the cross on the forehead? You hear me?
Man, they need something, man. They need to hold it all the guy 2 a.m. Lay your hands on this Carolina Panthers team. But, but nah, man. Like, but I appreciate it, man. And thank you for that, man. But yeah, we go. Yeah, well, we gonna keep our foot on their neck, man, every single week, man. But we go have some fun with it at the same time too. But what you think? Okay, so let me ask you this: what do you think about the national media giving the Saints their flowers all of a sudden, man? Are you for it? Are you against it? What do you feel about that?
I'm not really for it or against it, you hear me? But I know what's going on. They true bandwagons. They're gonna hop on whatever that's really popping at the moment to make their show get ratings. You understand what I'm saying? So that
right.
I'm like, I'm opposite. I'm not opposite, but I know what's going on, bro. Like, come on, man. But don't play on my team, here. Don't play on my city. You hear me? Like, don't do us like that. Like, don't try to do like. Keep your same concept and thought process you've been talking about for the last 5 years.
Yeah,
you hear
right.
Me? Keep that same thing going.
Man,
we being from the boot, you hear me? Like, I live out Maryland right now, you hear me? But being from the boot, brother, come on, man, we done seen this in elementary, outside playing football in the street, tackle football, bump it up against cars, you hear me? We done seen people bandwagon who the great person is, you hear me? You dig what I'm saying?
That man said bump it up and get called, man.
I'm trying to tell you, I didn't see it. So I'm
fly
not
around
surprised
to
by
the
this.
street.
Man, I'm not surprised by this at all. I knew it was coming all of a sudden. You hear me? And like the whole thing about it is they talking about just the explosiveness of the offense. And I know, I mean, I see it. You hear me? And all right, let me get to my points, right? So like, look, so first, and this is no order. You hear me? I don't want to take too much time up, but I'm gonna try to get a couple of these out real quick. Shout out, like you said, to the and like King, to the old line. You hear me? Because last week we had what 10 penalties, I think, and then this week we had what 5.
Right.
We Pennington, but Penning is he kind of paying people bills right now. So I wish I had a phone number. If I was gonna bet something, I wish he would have told me what's going on. He didn't lay that boy down, bent him back, was like a pretzel over there on the right side when AK went in there for that run. You hear me?
Right.
He not playing. You put him. The thing was like, man, I felt like, and I kept saying, man, I don't know if you seen it when I was coming to the comments, you hear me? And I'd be joking and shit like that. I'd be like, man, sorry, I'm sorry because I'd be joking stuff. I'm like, man, put him in left guard because that will allow him some time. He could run block for real. And I was always basing off the run block, you hear me? But if you can keep him where he at right now because you running the ball extremely well.
Right.
And that opens up that give him the confidence to open up into for the passing game. You hear me? And you can see that too. You can kind of see where he get pushed back a little bit, but he stand on all 10. You hear me? He know the boot is what he got to represent. So I give a shout out to the O-line because the penalties that we had last season compared to this season, it's a world of a difference, brother. A world of a difference. You hear me?
Yeah.
That being said, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, man, I was gonna pick it back off what you said. You know, this O-line has been the talk of this resurgence of the Saints offense, man. I mean, they're doing things that needs to be done. They mean, they nasty, they physical.
Yep.
I like the energy, man. I like the energy. And like I said, they're reminding me of teams in the NFC West, like physical, run smash them out, run the football. Like they look like the 49ers. Like they look like the Seahawks. Like they look like those teams right there, man.
They do. The Seahawks with beast mode.
Yep. That's what it's looking like, man.
When it comes down to AK, though, you hear me? A lot of people want to say the big old AK apology. And I get to David Carr next and something like that. And we owe AK apology and John like that for saying that. So a lot of people say he kind of like lost a foot and everything. I'm not a fan. I'm a family member, you hear me? So we don't really owe him an apology. We need to find out who it was that make it, why he didn't show up where he's supposed to show up. AK can't call his own plays.
Right.
You hear me? He can't call them. His job is to go out there, get the ball, and execute based off of what's being presented. The old line gotta do their thing. They doing their thing now, and he's like capitalizing off what they've done. You hear me? He's always been the same 41 since day one. So when it comes down to that, we don't really owe AK apology. We don't really owe Derek Carr apology. I said the same thing about Derek Carr. Derek Carr, he based off of his stats and he's like, he's not the most winning quarterback, but he's solid. And when we signed him, we knew we finally had a quarterback. And I love J-Bo, you heard me? Because J-Bo got a personality.
Right.
You hear what I'm saying?
Right.
But when it comes down to like executing plays, getting it done, not standing in the pocket trying to emulate another quarterback like Drew Brees, that's what he was trying to do. He kept mentioning in the media, they're like, yeah, I took my footwork from, you can see his footwork change from Tampa Bay to New Orleans based off of him having conversations or having training with Drew Brees. He tried to shuffle a lot, and that threw him off. Okay, it's nothing against him. I mean, it is against him because that's what he tried to do. But when it comes to Derek Carr, like, Derek Carr was definitely put in a situation where the scheme didn't fit what he can do. He didn't run a lot of play actions last year. He didn't have a run game that was doing anything. So him being able to, he could always spin it, but he didn't have the right protection or personnel to set up the scheme for him to be achievable in his game. And that was the problem, you hear me? This year with Clint Kubiak, and it's like the reason why I know we going somewhere this year, it's not just because of what I've seen in the last 2 weeks. It's because we honestly, the NFC is not, they're used to the NFC. They're not used to AFC. We always had a problem with AFC teams. You hear me? So when you bring somebody from the AFC into the NFC based off of things they've been studying for the last 15 years, they've never seen this. It's a difference. True. It's like the Warriors getting Stephen Curry. Like we never seen. Like we had Muggsy Bogues, John Starks, Latrell Sprewell. You hear me? Like in New Orleans, we ain't really had no team. We had New Orleans Jazz, but we ain't really had nothing. You hear me? But when you see, you either got to pick the Lakers or somebody else. I pick the Warriors. You hear me? So when you see Steph Curry coming in shooting threes from the half court line, it's like, we cannot adjust to this. Like, this is something different. And that's what Clint Kubiak is. He's something different that the NFC has never seen. I don't care what everybody talking about saying, oh, it's only a matter of time before the boots are getting into situations where they're going to lose and we ain't scoring 40. They never seen anything. We still going to keep putting up 40 or more, if not at least 30, because every time we get up there, Clint Kubiak doesn't say, all right, I'm going to put the gas down. I'm going to put my foot down. He starts running. He take people. I don't want you to see what I got next. I'm gonna show you next week. And then I'm gonna change it up based off that. All right, that part, right? Derek Carr and 150 million. No, I don't feel like he 150 million, but boy, do he look like it.
Right. I mean, yeah. He looked the part right now, Cartel. Like he looking apart. But I think about this, man. I feel like what's happening right now is you see what a coordinator can do for a quarterback. I think about Matt Ryan when he won that MVP. I think about Jalen Hurts when he was up for the MVP when they went to the Super Bowl. He had Shane Steichen. Now Shane Steichen is in Indianapolis. If you notice, when Shane Steichen left, Jalen Hurts hasn't been the same. As of right now,
that's true. That is
in his last 9 starts, Cartel, Jalen Hurts is 2-7. In his last 9 starts, he is 2-7, dude. Like so. So the coordinators, the quarterback whisperers, man, those dudes make a difference, man.
They're real, bro. They're real.
That's what's happening right now with Derek Carr. Clint Kubiak is putting him in the best position to succeed. He was already a decent quarterback. So now you have somebody that's going to be able to reel you in. And the best part about it is he's actually thinking for him. Like he's telling him what to do. It's like with Sean McVay and Jared Goff. Like they made a big spiel about this, Cartel. Like, so the quarterback has like a microphone, in his headset, right? And it goes off at a certain time. Like I want to say 15 seconds before they actually snap the ball. Okay. They said Sean McVay was talking to Jared Goff the entire time, like telling him like where they was lining up, where you need to go with the football. Jared Goff was putting up some really good numbers in Los Angeles. Just weren't able to get them over the hump. So when you got that guy, when you got that dude that can just whisper in your ear and be like, okay, man, this is what I need you to do, and help you to see the field, and you're already good, like you're gonna capitalize on that, man.
That's true. That's exactly true. That's true.
You got anything else, man?
But real quick, I want to say, like, I do appreciate, like, I can appreciate things that we've been touching bases on based off of, like, and I got one more thing after this. I'm gonna leave it after that. Two, leave it after that. But now I can finally appreciate. I know we are like, nah, somebody in the chat gonna see it, say, big dog, you tripping, you hear me? You don't know what you talking about, man. You must not have played football. Listen, I can appreciate now them not re-signing Alvin Kamara when they signed him. They're supposed to re-sign him. I can appreciate the doubt of Derek Carr that we as the Who That Nation had, because we hold him to a standard. We holding people to a standard. You hear me? And the reason why I can appreciate the whole thing with AK is because AK is gonna show you better than he can tell you. You hear me? And look at what that boy doing right now. Second point is, I never said that or thought that Rattler should be the number one quarterback behind Carr. I never disrespected that boy like that. You hear me? But I do believe that he does deserve spot 2. You hear me? He definitely deserved that.
Oh, yeah.
And I understand the reason why Hainer got it because Hainer has experience over him. And he didn't show us too much of a mess up last season. So you got to give him respect and give him the opportunity to truly throw you off. You hear me? I'm gonna leave that who that baby. You hear me? I love you, boy. I
appreciate it, man. I love you too, man. Thank you.
Days. Man, listen, I'm always in the chat. You hear me? I'm gonna start throwing that because I want to support you, Dick. I'm sorry, I'm too New Orleans.
When you get off of here, you gonna see these comments, man. Like you're a very popular guy, right?
Well, say, listen, I really appreciate it, baby. I appreciate y'all. You hear me? And listen, when I come to the next little easy little meeting, bro, because I'm coming through there. You hear me? Man, I'm gonna bring a second line with me, baby. My family really known for that. You hear me? So yeah.
Hey man, it sound like a plan, man. Next time I'm in town, I gotta let you know, man.
I knew I got you crazy. Yeah, that boy really from Magnolia. Yes, Lord.
Hey man. Hey man, look, it's all love, bro. Like, hey, everybody from New Orleans, everybody from the booth understood you perfectly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
All right, well, cool. I can't see the comments, so like,
hey,
I'm gonna check.
You gonna see him when it's.
I'm gonna check him out. You hear me? But like, yeah, man. Shout out to King Arthur. Shout out to my boy Chosen. Shout out to Jerry G. You hear me? Shout out to Pamela Whammy. What's down with you, baby? We gonna get you that. We gonna get you that. What his name is? What's that little kicker name is? I'm so excited right now. I forgot what
Blake Groupie.
Blake, we gonna get you that Blake Groupie jersey, baby. We gonna really, you hear me? We know you rocking with him, man. Shout out to her, Miss Demeanor, man. Listen, man, I love you, TJ.
Hey, shout out to
Jackie, man. Shout out to the family, everything like that, man. I've been since the slideshows days, and I ain't going nowhere. You hear me?
Yeah, man. Appreciate it, man. Hey, Cartel, call back anytime, man.
I appreciate it.
All right, take care, man. Yeah, man. Shout out to Cartel, man. Shout out to Cartel. Hey, man, Cartel is like, man, hella supportive. Like any project, any place that I go, like, man, I always see him in the chat supporting, man. And what he said, earlier, man, that meant a lot to me. I appreciate that. I really do. I appreciate that. Take a few more comments, but do want to mention that this show is powered by BETUS. Sign up today, get up to 150% on your first deposit and 125% on your next 2 deposits. All you have to do is sign up, go to BETUS, and use the promo code YouTube150. That's YouTube150. Thank you to BETUS for sponsoring the State of the Saints podcast throughout the 2024 season. And also, I want to let everybody know, man, you can find me on Bleacher Report as well. I mean, Bleacher Report, we're blowing up over there. I will be with Bleacher Report the entire 2024 season, man, which I'm extremely excited about. I recently just got that information. So we've been hitting them out of the park, man. So they want to keep me on for the entire 2024 season. And I want to say thank you all for that. So make sure that you sign up for Bleacher Report. Follow me, Saints Talk with Timothy J. Jones. We break down the game after the game, right? I'm really excited about that. Really excited about it. Shouts out to Bleacher Report. Shouts out to everybody that comes over there, watches the videos. Man, make sure you check it out. You go to Bleacher Report, download the app. You select New Orleans Saints. You'll see like my commentary and stuff like that on the screen, which is insane, man. Like, I'm basically, doing spots with Chad Ochocinco. Like, man, who would have thought that? Right? I mean, who would have thought that? Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable, man. Thank God. Let's go to King Arthur says Cartel stole the show. Get the likes up for Cartel. Yeah, man. Shouts out to Cartel. And I'm glad he called in, man, because sometimes, I mean, man, so many supportive people of the State of the Saints podcast in here, man. And sometimes it's great. Like, it was so wonderful, like, meeting Chosen in person. Like, Chosen, I talk to him all the time, seeing him in person, seeing Hoodie in person, seeing Zach in person. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, just seeing like so many different people, man. Shouts out to the brother, you know, that's going to Tulane to get his master's. Meeting him and talk about how much he enjoys the show. Man, it's great to be able to, you know, be able to interact with people. That's why, man, you know, I ain't trying to cut nobody off. You know, if you got something to say, you know, I'll make sure that you say it, because you could be talking to anybody else. I am so New Orleans like 1825 Tulane. Yeah, Rosenberg's right there. Hey, man, when Cartel mentioned, and I'm gonna get to you, CJ, but when Cartel mentioned talking about playing football in the street, boy, I felt that, boy. Hey, and everybody understood 2 words: car time. When it's car time, before, I ain't talking about Derek Carr, I'm talking about Carr. Like, get out the street, they got a car coming, and then you just out there. Straight 9 routes. I remember out there with my big brother EJ. Some of y'all know who he is. You know, he pops up from time to time, did the post-game show with me down in New Orleans for week 1. We used to be out there running 9 routes in church shoes, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, we used to get it. But yeah, I felt that when he was saying playing football in the street. I felt that. Listening, I'm brought and I've apologized to Derek Carr, Mickey Loomis, but it's too early to be cocky. Let's win against the Eagles. Well, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people still have a wait and see approach, and I don't have no issue with that. I have no issue with the whole wait and see approach that people have. I think it's fair. It's only been 2 games. They look impressive, but it's only been 2 games, right? You won 2 games last year. Can you win 3 in a row? Can you keep this momentum going? Because you have a team that can actually keep this momentum going. You're capable of keeping this momentum going. So if you can do that, then you'll be just fine. But we'll see. Y'all still looking up at us, but good-ish. Says Vet. Yeah, I mean, look, Tampa is the class of the NFC South right now. They've been winning the division. Look, man, I ain't about to hear me sugarcoat anything. Like, if you're a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan, you got a right to brag about the team that you've had since 2020. You won more. I want to say they won more regular season games than any other team in that span. They won a Super Bowl. They was able to bring Tom Brady, and they won the division 3 times in a row. So I can understand like the excitement. And that's why at the same time, I'm not going in on Tampa Bay Buccaneers fans for feeling like, hey, man, y'all still got to knock us off. That's fair. But what the Saints are building, you know, I feel like it can be formidable. And throughout the years, it's not like the Saints haven't been beating Tampa. You know, it's kind of like, you know, they kind of been, you know, it kind of been neck and neck. Like even last year, they both were 9-8. So both teams have found ways to get the competitive advantage over one another throughout a 2-game span throughout the years. But, you know, if one team can do something of significance, you know, I think that it will make them, you know, that champion. Like I still think it's a 2-team race right now between Tampa and New Orleans. Like I think Atlanta is almost there, but I don't know. Like I think that what Tampa is doing right now, what the Saints are doing right now, they could possibly kind of separate themselves from the pack, excuse me. So I still think it's going to be a two-team race, which I mean I've always felt. I want to give acknowledgement to the donations. Miles, thank you very much for the $9.99. Says, hey TJ, I'm going to be at the game this weekend. Don't know if you will be there. Much love from Biloxi, Mississippi. Well, Miles, I won't be at the game. More than likely, I'll probably be at the Coastal Carolina versus Virginia game. You know, I cover Coastal Carolina. And, you know, I'm very proud of that. You know, shouts out to Coastal Carolina giving me an opportunity to be able to, you know, show my creative journalistic chops there covering the team. And also, man, my son, Paxton, man, I mean, he's starting to organize sports here. And it hurt me. You know, the fact that I flew out to New Orleans to be able to cover the Saints week 1 game. And it was his very first practice for football. And, you know, I was like, nah, man, you know, that's my motivation. That's the reason why I do what I do. And, you know, I don't want to neglect that. So if I can be a great father and a great podcaster, great. But I'd rather be a great father than a great podcaster. So my family is always going to come first because they're my driving force. So that's the reason why, man. I got to be out there for my little man starting soccer this Saturday, and I want to make sure that I'm out there, man, rooting for him and cheering that he gives 110%. And Miles also said, "Hey TJ, I wish I had seen you week 1. I'm going to the Philly game this weekend. Much love from Biloxi." Yeah, I appreciate that, Miles, and thank you for that, man. Thank you for your donations there. Yeah, man, I definitely will be getting back to a game. Definitely will be flying back out there, really soon. So, yeah, I'll be out there, man. I'll be at a few games. I'm definitely going to be going back to the Little Easy. Shouts out to the Little Easy, 634 Julia Street out in New Orleans, man. Make sure y'all stop by over there. Tell them TJ sent you. Really good people over there. They haven't been open very long, man. They've been open maybe like 5 months now. But it's a great atmosphere. It's small, small place, but intimate. But these people are like really passionate about their restaurant. They have people up in there, man. They're excited about the game. I mean, the atmosphere was just crazy, man. I can't wait to get back there. Definitely going to be going back to a New Orleans Saints game this season, man. And I'm probably going to be bringing my family with me the next time I come, man, because such a great atmosphere. I want to be able to share that with my beautiful wife, man, who hey man, we reeling her in. We reeling her in, man. I was doing the post-game show and I was getting ready to go on air, and I seen her, man. She put the New Orleans Saints shirt on. I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay, we kind of reeling her in. Paxton had his Chris Olave jersey on. I'm like, okay, man, look at that. So yeah, so we're gonna have to get her to the dome, man, where she can feel that atmosphere, so she can feel that energy, man. Let her scream that who that, If DC beats the Eagles and throws over 250 yards and 3 or more touchdowns, is it too early to put him in the MVP conversation? Well, I see, money. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, my friend, but he's already in the MVP conversation. Like his numbers, he leads the league right now in completion percentage. He's up there from touchdowns to the interception. I don't know what the world. Shouldn't even have an interception right now. So he's playing at a high level, man. And he's getting the acknowledgement that people get when they perform the way that he does. Now, can he maintain this? We'll see. But right now, yeah, he's getting the attention. And people are putting him in the MVP conversation. But so is Baker Mayfield. They're putting him in there as well. I don't really believe in Raheem Morris as a head coach. I think Raheem Morris knows what he knows, and he had those mistakes, and he learned from those mistakes when he was a head coach before. I think that he's willing to, kind of facilitate certain things that he doesn't know how to do, and he kind of micromanages. And I think that that's the recipe for a decent coach. I don't want to say a good coach. I feel like, to make you like a good coach, like you got to be able to be well-rounded, but you facilitate, but also have that knowledge where you bring it every single week. You're instrumental in one side of the football. Like when I see a head coach with a play sheet, right? It's offensive or defensive. I feel like those are the things that kind of make you great. I feel like those coaches that facilitate, I feel like those are the type of coaches that sometimes they kind of get lost in translation because, you're micromanaging, but, if you ever been in management, things kind of slide through the cracks if you don't have a hand on it. That's why, when I was in management, I always took a designated area or did a certain thing. I never wanted to be that office guy, right? Sitting in the office, looking at the cameras, wondering if I hate to call people my employees, but my coworkers, are doing what they're supposed to do. I like to be out there, hauling freight, what I'm saying? Like throwing freight and putting stuff on the shelf just like them, right? It just lets you know that, man, number one, I understand what's going on. I see the pulse of the community. I see what the energy of the store, like what we need to do, what we need to improve. So I always feel like those type of coaches are the ones that always seem to find success. And I don't think that it's a coincidence that, I have achieved as much as I did when I was in store management. Hell, the reason I'm in South Carolina right now was because of some of the things I did in management. But I always just felt like my style of being on the floor and being in a foxhole and understanding people from a personal level and as well as a professional level, I think that always helped me. And I just think that when coaches are right there on the field, going through the motions, and you're also dictating a side of the football that determines if your team wins or loses, I think that's a recipe for a really good coach. But I think he's okay. I think he's okay, but I think he's going to have to figure it out. I think that from what I've seen, I think that he'll have them going in the right direction. But you got to be able to maintain that momentum, and we'll see if he can. I agree that this is a two-horse race between the Saints and the Bucks, but just like last year, just without Pete Carmichael, the Saints just need to keep their heads down and play smart and scheme. Yeah, I mean, look, don't pay attention to your press clippings. Don't pay attention to everybody talking about how great you are. And if you do that, you'll be just fine. I say it like this, man. I often tell a story about me growing up. One of my favorite shows I used to watch was the Three Stooges. I love the Three Stooges, man. But one thing I loved about them is their bio, their backstory. And everybody knows, like, for the most part, if you're like my age or older, you know how successful the Three Stooges was. Everybody used to watch them, right? But do you understand, like, they didn't realize how popular they were. They made 18-minute shorts for nearly 20, 30 years. And this production company convinced them that they weren't good enough. Like, oh, we about to close down production. They did this year after year and had those guys nervous and afraid that they were going to lose their job. They lowballed them, had them making $3,000 each when they shorts were generating nearly, hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is equal to millions of dollars today. And then there was one day when they decided to kind of close up shop for real. They decided to hit the road, and they were so nervous. Like, when they was about to go out on stage, they were so afraid, like, man, we just hope that, people just came out. And when they opened up the curtain, they just realized, like, they had standing room everywhere, and they realized that they've been had the entire time. My whole point of telling you this story about the Three Stooges is, you know what I'm saying? You got to have that particular mind frame. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, they were just doing stuff. They didn't realize how great they were. They didn't realize it. They just continued to work. They just continued to press forward. They just continued to put that stuff out there. And in the process, everybody started to respect them, but they didn't know that, right? Until the end results, when their career was all said and done, they realized how special they were. If you can keep your head down and you can continue to work and you reach that ultimate goal, which is the Super Bowl, then after that, you can kind of tuck your head, from under the cover, so to speak, and realize the special season that you had. But all of this goodwill, all of this stuff, 91 points, going into AT&T Stadium, beating a team that won 16 straight regular season games, making this offense of the Dallas Cowboys look normal, making Dak Prescott make people question the fact that if you giving him $60 million, the fact that you have Dennis Allen looking like the first coach to be fired for the first coach that should be up for coach of the year. Derek Carr, who people just wrote off and just said that, he just middle of the pack. Andy Dalton 2.0, Kirk Cousins lookalike, all these different things. And he's playing at a high level. Have an appreciation for what you have built when it's all said and done. If you do that, then I guarantee you're going to get that standing ovation like the Three Stooges did when they opened up that curtain. Because everybody, for the most part, who is rooting for this team, that has been supporting this team, still believes that this team has what it takes to be successful. And they showed us a little bit of the breadcrumbs that they're spreading around, and they're giving us hope. Now, This is only a small sample size, folks. We only seen 2 games of this. So if you want to make believers out of people, you want to continue to generate this success, you keep your head down, you keep moving, you keep focusing on the main goal, which is number 1, winning the division, because it gives you a better chance to, go through the playoffs. Then if you do that, maybe you're a number 1 seed. Maybe, maybe you get a couple of home games. But you just stay focused, man. Stay focused, keep your head down. And like I said, at the end, you'll get what you deserve. I think we're underrated how good Dennis Allen, defensive genius, is sometimes. To hold Dallas to 1 touchdown and multiple stops against one of the best offenses is nothing short of amazing. Well, look, I've always credited Dennis Allen as a defensive mind. That's just the one thing about Dennis Allen I think we all have an appreciation for the most. It's not the fact that he's just a good coach. And I'm quite honest, I still don't think he is. I don't. I just think that he understands who he is and what he brings to the table, and he knows what he needs in order to complement what he does best. It's okay, man. Honestly, it's okay for you not to be the best singer. It's okay for you not to be the best dancer in the group, right? But if you get a couple people around you, to kind of mask off what you can actually do, maybe you just good at spinning on your head. You know what I'm saying? This other guy can pop lock, spin on his head, and do better than what that lady did in the Olympics at the breakdancing competition. They can, but it's okay to not be the best, but if you can bring somebody in to accompany you and, and compliment what you're doing, you'll be fine. And, I think that's what he's doing right now. This is his Greg Williams from the looks of it. This is his Greg Williams. Clint Kubiak is Dennis Allen's Greg Williams. So if you can go out there and coach this defense, get the best out of this defense, you rely on Clint Kubiak to get the best out of this offense. And like I said, you'll win a lot of football games, in my opinion, as long as you can stay healthy. As long as you can go out there and keep your head down and win a lot of football games. Let's see. Wow, really? I assume we talking about Three Stooges. Yeah. Yeah, man. The Three Stooges, they were extremely popular, man. But they made $10,000 a year, and it's split between the 3 of them. So Shemp Howard, which everybody knows Shemp, that was Mo's older brother. Mo was the brains of the operation, and Larry, kind of came along with him, of course. And then Curly, a babe came after Shemp had a stroke. But they all just kind of made the same salary for all those years, man. And every time they'll try to negotiate, Ted Healy, who was the production guy at the time, would tell them hey man, we trying to just keep it afloat. Now keep in mind, Paramount Pictures, Paramount Plus, CBS, Paramount is on CBS and Nickelodeon and all that. Paramount was basically in its infancy at the time in the 1930s. The Three Stooges, their shorts built Paramount Pictures, and they never knew it. They never knew it. I say, man, that was, just learning about the story of the Three Stooges, their biography was just, straight compelling. And it also was just made you feel sorry for them, man, because they died broke. They died broke, man. They couldn't really travel on the road because they had different issues, and they end up Shemp had a stroke, Curly had a stroke. Larry and Mo kind of tried to keep it together, bringing in Joe Besser and all those other guys. But, like I said, they died broke, man. And I want to say, if I'm not mistaken, they generated at the time would have been equal to $50 million or something like something crazy like that, just in production. And they never knew how popular they were. Made $3,000 a piece for all those years. Unbelievable. DA is good as an overseer and bringing the defensive genius while letting Clint cook on offense. We may have the reverse 09 team. Yep, that's why I said he has found from the looks of it. It's a small sample size, but from the looks of it, it looked like he found his Greg Williams. Let's see. TJ, let's be real. That touchdown came off a miscommunication between DBs. And had we fell on the fumble instead of trying to pick it up and run, it Chase Young, the score would have been worse. Well, yeah, I agree, with that. You got to fall on the football. And what happened with CeeDee Lamb, like I said, it kind of reminded me of that DK Metcalf touchdown when the Saints went to Seattle and they beat them. At that time when him and Marshawn Lattimore, I'm talking DK Metcalf, and Marshawn Lattimore were kind of getting into it. And he had that one long touchdown. I want to say it was like 81 yards off of miscommunication, similar to the CeeDee Lamb touchdown, but they ain't scored nothing else after that. And they basically locked him down after that. So, if you take away that, not too many explosive plays happen. And, you're not going to play you can like Dak Prescott. You can not like Dak Prescott. You can think that he's not worth $60 million, but he is one of the best quarterbacks in NFC. That's not saying much because who's the best quarterback in NFC? They ain't really got too many, right? Who is look around the NFC. I mean, pretty average at best. Even with Brock Purdy and all the success he's having in San Francisco, pretty average. Geno Smith, I like him, but average. Kyler Murray, it seems like he's getting together. He seems healthy, but average. There's no world beaters in the NFC. So if you need to beat NFC teams, hear me out, Who Dat Nation. If you need to beat NFC teams, Dak Prescott is the standard. He's one of the standards. He's a guy that you're going to have to neutralize. Kirk Cousins is another. Baker Mayfield is another. But this isn't murderous row that we're talking about here. If you were in the AFC, then I feel like you're going to need a little bit more week after week because you got to go up against Burrow and Mahomes and Allen and Herbert and Rodgers, and Lamar Jackson, and that's murderous row right there. Saying the standard is Baker Mayfield and Dak Prescott. I mean, that, no disrespect to him. I think Baker is playing really well right now, but it's not saying it's not murderous row here. A good football, a good football game playing from start to finish can knock off Baker Mayfield. Playing good football from start to finish or even midway can knock off a Dak Prescott. But when you go to Arrowhead, you got to play virtually flawless because you're going up against the Kansas City Chiefs offense, defense, and them damn referees. And we know that when it comes to the referees and the New Orleans Saints, they ain't about to give us nothing, especially if they can save their golden boy Patrick Mahomes right now, which, I understand. They need that face of the NFL and they need him winning. Trey, thank you very much for $2. Says holla for $2. Who that? Man, what's going on, Trey? Appreciate it, man. Appreciate that. Calvin, thank you for the $4.99. Says Saints safeties after that touchdown started knocking the ish out of those receivers. Seemed like they stopped caring about flags and played to break up the passes. Yeah, I mean, these guys heard it. They heard the chit chatter. Those guys walked in like they were just going to sit up here and just have their way with the Saints. And the Saints were like, hold up, man. Nah, bruh. No, bruh. It ain't going down like that. You dig? We're going to show you that I don't know what you heard, but what you heard ain't what it is. And they went out there and they balled, man. So to me, this team, the crazy thing about it and what I have learned, if Derek Carr would have been presented to the Who Dat Nation in a different way, we would have loved the hell out of this dude because it seems to me like we know when you from New Orleans, Gulf Coast, Mississippi, around that area. Man, we petty as hell. And when we win it, we gonna let you know about it. The Superdome lit up in blue, navy blue, and silver after the Saints beat the Cowboys. Like, so, man, like, if he would have been presented to the Who Dat Nation in a different way, the way that he's like playing right now, talking ish to JC Horn, hitting the Michael Jackson, crotch grab, doing all these things, like, people would have looked at him like, yeah, that's our guy right there. You probably would have had somebody jump out of the stands if somebody would have put a late hit on Derek Carr. He, like, his personality and how he's carrying himself kind of embodies the city. And if from the looks of it, it seems like the New Orleans Saints are kind of embodying that too. It kind of reminds me of those teams when, you know, after that classic 2017 draft, when you got all those players and, you know, the NFL started to kind of bite from what the New Orleans Saints were doing, you know, putting on the mask. What happened the next year? You had the Philadelphia Eagles putting on dog masks. People running, you know what I'm saying? The Saints, they used to run together as a team to the camera and be posing. Not everybody just do that stuff. The Saints were trendsetters around the National Football League. You had the motorbike hitting that Chopper Styles. Teddy B brought that here. Even though it's a Florida thing, he still kind of brought that to the forefront, you know, and people just started kind of rocking with it too. So this, like, they're getting back to that energy that we loved about this team. You know, that ride or die mentality. Like, man, you ain't about to say nothing about my boys, man. Like, we can talk about them, but you ain't about to say ish about us. That connection. So I just feel like, once again, if Derek Carr would have been presented to the Who Dat Nation a little bit differently, I think that he probably would have been a fan favorite. But, you know, but maybe wounds will heal. When you start winning more football games, you start to really, you know, like, kind of ingratiate yourself into the community, you know, be a little bit more remorseful. Thank you for the person that made that comment. I was a loss for words last episode, couldn't find it. Remorseful. I think that people will get behind you. But the most important thing is winning. I already told y'all that. I said that on several episodes. The one thing that is going to absolve the sins of the last 3 seasons is winning. And if you can win, then everybody gonna fall right back in. But that's just my opinion on that. Facts, the MJ celebration was slight yet massive impact. Yeah. I mean, his personality and how, you know, how he's playing the game right now, like, and that's what New Orleans is all about. Winning heals all. Yeah, I agree with that. You're right, Cameron. Winning heals all. Nobody's talking about how bad Dennis Allen is as a head coach right now. Nobody's talking about Derek Carr and, you know, and he needs to be benched and we need to get Spencer Rattler, hashtag the agenda. Ain't nobody talking about that right now. Why? Because the Saints are on top right now. They winning. They looking good in doing so. So guess what? That's where everybody, you know, everybody like, okay, man, it's cool now. How y'all doing, Big Head? TJ, that Ferguson was Dallas' number 2 option. Come to find out, say a lot about their lack of offensive weapons. Well, you know, I will say this, man. Dak has always used the tight ends. Dalton Schultz, he always, you know, Jake Ferguson most recently. But you know, even when man, who am I? Man, his name. The best tight end they didn't have. Like, come on, man. Somebody help me out. I cannot believe I'm forgetting this guy's name. Like, you know, but, you know, he's always, like, utilized the tight end. Somebody give me his name. The tight end for the Cowboys. I'm gonna feel so crazy when somebody tell me this guy I'm thinking about. But y'all know, man, Tony Romo best friend. Tony Romo best friend. Jason Witten. Thank you. Jason, man. But yeah, he always utilized the tight ends, man. He always utilized the tight ends. So, you know, that doesn't surprise me. You know, he's the reason why Dalton Schultz got paid from Houston. Fun fact, Dennis Allen is 500 as the Saints head coach. Yeah, that's true. He's 18-18 now. That's true. Yeah, man. I'm like, he said, "Ooh, Bar, you going back, Jay Novacek." that Troy Aikman target. Barbara took us back with that one. Jay Novacek, man. Yeah, Jay Novacek. That was Troy Aikman's guy right there. That was Troy Aikman's guy right there. TJ, they got us underdogs this week though. Let them. I ain't got no problem with that. At all. Take a few more, then we're gonna get up out of here. It says, how do you think we're going to hold up against Saquon? I don't know. We'll see. That's a special dude, man. I mean, I knew he dropped that football, but he kind of strikes me as that Mark Ingram type guy where, if he makes a mistake, he just comes back and plays really hard. But I like Saquon Barkley, man. I just think that injuries kind of affected his career, derailed his greatness. I think he would have been one of the best best running backs of his generation if he would have stayed healthy. I think that he'll be prepared, man. I think the Saints better not go into that game just thinking that they about to just, roll all over the Eagles, man. Those guys are prideful, and they've been hearing all week about how great they are, how great the Saints are. And we know Nick Sirianni, he's a guy that likes the grandstand and hot dog. And then you got the return of CD Deuce. He going to want to try to catch an interception. He already said he want to catch an interception and give the ball back to DA. So we going to see, man. A lot of those guys are prideful, man. They've been hearing this stuff. And sometimes, like when the media is singing the praises of a team, it makes those opponents locked in even more. Make them locked in even more. Let's see. Great show, TJ. Bless broski. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. And if you all are enjoying the show, I ask that you hit the like button. I ask you that you subscribe to the channel. I think I seen somebody actually said they subscribed to the channel tonight. So I want to say thank you for that, for passing by. We won somebody over, man. Congratulations. Congratulations with that nation. We won somebody over. But thank you for that. If you like Saints commentary, if you like having Saints conversation, real conversation, subscribe to the channel. TJ, man, thank you again for having me on the show. What are your thoughts about our secondary without Marshawn? I think they formidable. They look like they don't, they look like they ain't miss a beat. But, that's because Kool-Aid McKinstry fell to you in the second round. He's a first-round talent. Paulson Adebo, in my opinion, was a first-round talent. So, yeah, you got some guys out there. Lante Taylor playing out his mind. So, Lante Taylor playing like the best nickel corner in football right now. 2 games in, but he's looking like it. TJ, what's your prediction for the Saints and Eagles week 3? I just heard A.J. Brown would be out for that. I think the Saints will win. I think they'll win, but it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, but I say that every week and it looks easy, but I don't know, man. I just think that they're no longer flying under the radar anymore. They got everybody's undivided attention. And when you have a team's when you have the undivided attention of your opponent, like it can be tough. So those guys up there, man, they breaking that tape down. They breaking it down. How long has the NFC South roundtable been a thing, TJ? It's been a thing this season. Like we're only maybe like 5 episodes in. Like we're like 5 episodes in, maybe. So yeah, we haven't done it long. We started at the beginning. Towards the end of August. That's when we started. So we haven't we like 5 episodes in this thing. Linda, thank you very much for the 499. Said TJ, I got a chance to see Michael Parsons in person. He's really small. Yeah, he is a kind of a smaller linebacker, but he's a man. A lot of these guys are small. Like you be thinking these dudes are like big and massive, like these guys are like small, like these running backs and stuff like that. Man, I seen Bijan Robinson in person. Like I would actually talk to him like in person. Like when I was at, he was at the NFL Combine, just got off the stage talking to CBS, and I was with my boy. Shouts out to my guy Emery Hunt, and like we were just standing there. You were chopping up, like good dude though, man. Like good dude, like his, and like you would think like he's like a large guy. He's not, man. Like if Bijan Robinson, like if you didn't know he played football and he just kind of walked in a room, like you just think that he just kind of a guy that's mingling. Like he's a muscular guy, but he's small. He's a smaller guy. Like so, but good dude though. You know, everything that he said, man, like, man, good luck. Yes, sir. You know, no, sir. Yeah, like, good dude. You know, I can understand why Atlanta Falcon fans like him. You know, and I can understand like why like the Carolina Panthers fell in love with Bryce Young. Met him too. Like, I can understand like, you know, how these guys like, you know, how they, you know, how these organizations can, you know, try to buy into these dudes. TJ, I'm incredibly excited at the prospect of Fuaga and Kool-Aid to make their financial and cap model work. Saints draft picks must work out. I agree. They definitely got to work out. They got to work out. James, thank you very much for 499. Says Chase Young, like Leroy from the movie Lad Dragon. Boy, ain't got no moves. Man, come on, man. Like, I don't want to say he ain't got no moves, man. Like, he getting to the quarterback. Look, he got a half of a sack. You know, he should have fell on the football. I think he was just trying to do a little bit too much. But he's around the football, man. Like, man, Chase Young is a dog, man. Like, I know sometimes like we shy away from guys when they don't make the sack, like, because we're like, it's not our fault, but we've been systematically programmed to feel like production, if it from a defensive line perspective, if it doesn't come with 3 and 4 sacks a game, then that means that there's no production. It's not. Like, if you go back to the Carolina Panthers game, Chase Young didn't register anything on the stat sheet, but his fingerprints was all over the game. And, you know, like at this particular point, I'm looking at, you know, Carl Granderson. Carl Granderson is, you know, is getting it. So is Brian Brzee. But I mean, but Chase Young is making individuals like in a running game, running backs, running the opposite direction back into the hands of Cam Jordan and Brian Brzee. Like, he's blowing up, you know, offensive linemen. For that, you know, I mean, sometimes we like, I just encourage everybody, you know, if you're not into football like that, like, check out Deuce Winham. Like, check out my guy Deuce Winham. Does a really good job of breaking down film, breaking down tape. Take a look at some of the things that we don't see in real time. Because, to be quite honest with you, for the exception of this year, nobody really pays attention to the offensive line. Nobody sees what's going on in the trenches. We pay attention to it now because we know that that was a point of emphasis going into the season for them to be able to perform and play better. There were question marks surrounding them. But go back and watch that, man, and you'll see like a lot of the players that we're looking at and like, man, they ain't do nothing. You realize that the reason why that play was stopped in the backfield is because maybe that player didn't make the tackle, but he may have pushed that offensive lineman back into the pocket, or, you know, he forced that running back to go in the opposite direction. Like, it's a lot of things that go on, man. That's why you got to go and you got to watch the tape, because you don't want to watch the game and then go to ESPN and then go to box scores. Okay, he had this tackle. Oh, he balled. That tackle. And then all of a sudden, man, yeah, only this. But go back and watch the game. No, it may have not been his game from a statistical or analytical standpoint, but go back and watch that particular player in the game in its entirety. They ain't got to watch the entire game, like every snap that they took, but you'll see like a lot of those players that we criticize made an impact throughout the game. Just didn't come up on the stat sheet. So there's that. Facts, CJ, highlights don't always do it either. You have to run it slow and pause it. Yeah, you got to do that sometimes. Or you can become a prisoner to the narrative. You can become the thing that we criticize others of doing, being a prisoner of the narrative. I tell people all the time, be very, very careful about where you get your information and how you obtain that, because sometimes we don't even realize it. It's subconsciously programmed into our minds. So we'll start like when we hear certain narratives about teams that we don't follow as much as we do with the New Orleans Saints, we'll find ourselves picking up certain narratives. Oh, didn't he throw 2 interceptions? Oh man, he sucked. Why? Because I heard he threw 2. Like, we got to be able to talk the game, really look at what's going on, man. And if it is what it is, then I mean, you can't dispute that. But sometimes you'll find that a lot of the narratives are created by people that honestly don't really know what the hell they talking about, or it's not as bad as you may think. So it's just a little food for thought, man. But shouts out to the Who Dat Confessional with Deuce, man. Shouts out to Locked On Saints with my guy Ross Jackson. Shouts out to New Orleans Football with Nick Underhill. The guys on the ground, man. The ones that that's out here, doing amazing work, man. Also, man, shouts out to the NOLA beat writers, man. I like this show too, man, with Luke Johnson and my guy Rod Walker. Man, my guy Ewan, man, shouts out to him, man. Like they do an amazing job over there, man. I find their like look, I just like they have amazing chemistry, man. It's like they all have like their own little personalities that kind of mesh with one another, man. And it's a good show, man. It's a good show. If you want like a certain perspective, ain't with the loud talk and all that kind of stuff, but just information. Like, shouts out to them, man. I don't think they get enough credit for the work that they put in. As beat writers, man, they do amazing work. So I like that show, man. It's probably like one of my favorite Saints shows to watch right now. Shouts out to them. And shouts out to you for being here. 316 people watching this right now. And this is almost midnight where I'm at right now. So if you're on Central Time, it's almost 11 where you are. And you're still here. And I appreciate that. And so from the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate you stopping by. Shouts out to everybody that came over to the NFC South Roundtable. Shouts out to you. Hope you subscribe to that channel. Hope you subscribe to the Gumbo Pod Sports Podcast, as well as Saints Talk with Timothy J. Jones on Bleacher Report. And also you can follow me on social media, X at TJAY Jones 8. Make sure that you follow me on there. I'm pretty interactive on there. And also, man, just want to say thank you to all of the people in the chat, the ones that chimed in today, the ones that overcame their fear, like Cartel calling in, Keen Arthur, Chosen, Jordan. Thank you to you guys. Thank y'all for that. I appreciate you all chiming in. Let me know what you all have to say. Shouts out to Jerry. I know he said that he was going to call in next time, but I appreciate you, man. Ray, he said he had some technical issues, man, but thank you, man, for even hitting that invite button. Shouts out to everybody that donated to the show. Thank you to Miles. Thank you to Robin. Thank you to let me make sure I get everybody here. Shouts out to Calvin. Calvin's got a job. Shouts out to Trey. Y'all remember that McDonald's commercial? Hey, Calvin's got a job. All right. Shouts out to Linda. Shouts out to James. Shouts out to everybody that donated, and also for those that didn't, man. Shouts out to you as well. This has been a State of the Saints podcast powered by BETUS. Sign up today. Get up to 150% on your first deposit, up to 125% on your next two. All you got to do is go to BETUS, use the promo code YouTube150. You all have a great morning, noon, night, whenever you're checking out this podcast. And like always, all I got to say is, well, not really. All I got to say is, who that?
Thank you for listening to my daddy's podcast.
Hey, don't let these tears fool you. There's all dog around this mug. I'm good.